Hi Caffeines and welcome to 13 Days of Horror. Today I'm going to start off the series with a tag that I've written myself. There's a few Halloween tags going out around there and fall tags, but there's nothing specifically related to horror films, which is something that I really enjoy and something that is definitely synonymous with Halloween season. A good scare and a good chill, and I don't know, on the autumn nights things are getting darker earlier and just settling down and putting a horror film on and turning off all the lights. I love Halloween for this reason. It's not the only reason that I love Halloween, but horror films is definitely a huge thing for me. So I thought I would do this little tag for you, and hopefully some of you who also enjoy horror films will do this tag too. Okay, so there are 13 questions in this tag. I thought that was quite appropriate as it's 13 Days of Horror, but also because of Friday the 13th, which is a date that strikes horror into a lot of people. Some people don't even leave the house on Friday the 13th, and obviously there is that amazing horror series of films called Friday the 13th. So I thought I'd give it 13 questions, and then there's a little bit tagged on the end that I won't do in this because I'm intending on doing separate videos around this topic, but everybody else who does this tag, it'd be great if you could do that part too. So the first question is, what is your favourite scary movie? My favourite scary movie is Scream. I absolutely love it. I don't know what it is about it exactly. I just think that it is clever and it's witty, and it's about teens who know what the rules of horror are, and yeah, you know, they often, you know, they talk about not, you know, how funny it is and oh yeah, whatever, and laugh about those rules of horror, and then they do the very same things. And I really just like it. It's very clever, scripted by Kevin Williamson, and obviously it's a Wes Craven movie who I absolutely love also. But I just love the characters in that film. I love where it's set, I love the sequence of events, and I think the villain is fantastic in Ghostface, and how it turns out at the end and who he is. If you haven't seen it, I'm not going to spoil that for you, but I like that it is a horror film that could be possible, and I really just love teen horror, so teens running around screaming, people chasing them. That's my kind of horror more than any other genre, so for me my favourite scary movie is Scream. Question 2. Who is your favourite Scream queen? So obviously I would have to say that Sidney Prescott, who's in Scream, is one of my favourite Scream queens, which is Neve Campbell. But probably the one that stands out very much for me is Jamie Lee Curtis, and she plays Laurie in the Halloween movies. I just think that that's one of the earliest Scream queens that I guess I came across, along with Nancy in Freddy in Nightmare on Elm Street and Freddy Krueger. But for me, I always keep on coming back to Jamie Lee Curtis in Halloween, and like I say, she was the first Scream queen, and she has made several reappearances in the other movies, and yeah, I think she's just really good. She plays that character really well. So it's definitely between Jamie Lee Curtis and Neve Campbell. Question 3. What type of horror film do you like? I've kind of covered that. The type of horror film I like is teen horror. So I like all sorts of things like Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, Friday the 13th, all those kinds of teen things. Just where they're getting tracked down and hunted down one by one, basically. I really like the suspense and the drama and waiting to see who's going to go next, and I just like the scripting of those kinds of movies, and generally the themes of them, you know, with Michael Myers and just Freddy and, you know, Jason. I just think they're really good, strong horror characters, and I just like that they're just a little bit something different. Like it could happen, but it couldn't, you know. It's kind of in that realm where it's one way or the other depending on your kind of belief system. But yeah, I just absolutely love teen horror. Question 4. What type of horror film do you not like? I would like to say that I like all horror. I do watch all horror, but probably the things that don't really attract me quite so much horror-wise. I'm not really into paranormal activity type horror. I'm not interested in that kind of thing, although I do like Amityville, which is about the house being possessed. Paranormal Activity I found was just a lot of waiting around for very little happening, and it's not really for me as much, and I don't find it at all scary. Also, I'm not a huge massive fan of vampires or zombies, but that said, I do watch some zombie and vampire things and enjoy them. They're just not something where I would specifically say, okay, so this new vampire film's out, I need to go and see it, because it's just not something that excites me quite as much. if you were a Scream Queen, oh sorry, question 5. If you were a Scream Queen in any movie, which one? Well, of course that would be Scream, because it is my favourite, and I just love Sidney Prescott's character, and I just love the sequence of events that happened to her, and yeah, I would just love to be her. I would have said Casey Becker, which is Drew Barrymore, but she lasts all of about 10 to 15 minutes at the beginning of the film, so she doesn't exactly last long, and she's not really a Scream Queen. A Scream Queen, technically, is a survivor. She survives the whole movie and she lives another day, so I'd have to say Sidney Prescott. Number 6. Who is your favourite horror villain and why? I find this one really, really difficult because there are so many horror villains that I really, really love. Of course, I'd have to say Ghostface is right up there, just because it could be, you know, I like the reasoning behind what happened and why they murdered the people and how they did it. But horror villain, I guess I'd have to probably say Freddy Krueger, and that's just because, I don't know, Freddy has all sides of his character, so he's not just this menacing person who comes in and just slashes them to pieces. He's got that little bit of evil humour and sarcasm and wit about him. So, I don't know, it's just, there's certain lines in Nightmare on Elm Street that always stick with me, and they're my favourite lines, and I absolutely love them. Which is, part of that is when he's chasing Nancy outside, and she screams, "Oh my God," and he says, "No, this is God." Or something like that. You know, when you're pressured at the moment. But I really love that, and when his arms go really long and the scrape and the garages, it's like, Freddy's just, some of the things are just like totally ridiculous, and they're not the best put together, but I like that, and I like the idea of like a dream villain, so it's just something that it's very different from other ones, because they're all very safe, and then you go to sleep where you think you're going to be your safest, and there he is, and he's in your dreams, and I just really, really like that. I also just like the way he's portrayed and how he looks. I didn't like him in the remake. I didn't think that actor was a very good choice, but then again, I just love, you know, original Freddy. So, you know, it's difficult when somebody's played it for so long and done it so well, and, you know, it's just hard to get past that when it's something completely different. So yes, definitely Freddy Krueger. I just love everything about the concept of Freddy. Number 7. Who is the worst horror villain and why? That's really difficult, that one, actually. I wrote these questions, I haven't actually sat down and thought about them. Worst horror villain. Well, there's a number of them for different reasons, I guess. I would have to say Chucky is a pretty bad villain, but that's just because it's just so evil that it's a child's toy and he comes alive and kills people. It's like worst in a like evil sort of way, but not worst in a sort of, oh, that's just pathetic type of way. I guess something that sticks out for me there is Jeepers Creepers, because I really enjoyed the film. I thought it was really good, it was going along really well, and then you got to see who the villain was, and I didn't like it. I didn't like the concept, I didn't like what he was. I just wanted it to be something more, I don't know, different, more possible. I like my villains to have some sort of possibility about them sometimes. So I know you're kind of sitting there saying, well, what about Freddy Krueger? Yeah, Freddy Krueger might not exactly be possible, but it's in a dream. So anything's possible in a dream. So it's okay, that possibility's fine, because dreams and nightmares are just a whole different realm of their own, and anything's possible inside them. So for me, Jeepers Creepers is probably the worst one for me. Number 8. What is the worst horror film you've ever seen and why? Right, okay, I can't remember the name. I need to consult Alec on this one. Alec? Yeah. What's that horror film that we went to see and I hated it?
Drag Me to Hell.
Drag Me to Hell. Oh no. No.
A classic.
Alec thinks it's a total classic. I hated that film with a passion. If I'd known that it was that bad, you wouldn't have been able to drag me to the cinema to see it. It was just really, I didn't like it. I don't know. Sometimes you want the person who has been this strong character all the way through the film. You want them to survive at the end. And I just don't know. She as a character, she didn't capture me. I didn't like her. I didn't really identify with her, and you want to like your main character.
She didn't survive at the end though.
No, that's what I'm saying. I want my main character to survive at the end. I want to like her. I want to be rooting for her, and I just really thought, yeah, Yeah, hurry up and just kill her off, because I've had enough. I just didn't like it. I thought the concept was kind of okay about the curse, but it just really didn't do it for me. Number 9. Which horror film do you think is overrated? I'd have to say The Exorcist. And you're all
going to say that.
You're all going to scream, no, no, it's a classic. Right, so The Exorcist just takes forever to get anywhere. I went the pictures by myself to see that one because nobody would.
I disagree.
Nobody would go with me. This is my tag. I do like the story. I just think that it takes a little bit long to get to the point where a head's spinning. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I
but
just
you've got to build up that suspense. That's the whole thing. It's such a suspenseful film. If anything, it goes on for too long.
Yes, that's another thing.
Once you see the shot of her getting possessed, that's it. It's all downhill from there.
Yes. So it takes forever to get to the point. It gets to the point and then it goes, that's it. So I'm really sorry if anybody really likes that film. It's not that it's a bad film. I think the concept's really good. I do like it. I think the cinematography of it is just fabulous. The music is amazing. The characters are really good. Who's cast in the roles are fabulous. I just think that it takes a little bit too long to get to where you go, and I felt like I waited a long time and I got a little bit bored of the whole thing. And then when you got there, that was really exciting. It was like, ugh, a bit gross. And then, yeah, it kind of took way too long after that point. I don't know, yeah, it doesn't really capture me. And the reason I would say it's overrated is I feel it was overrated for me, so I'm not really down in it. It's just that I felt like it was given so much massive hype, and then I went to see it and I guess I was so hyped up by everything that people were saying that when I actually saw it I felt let down because I think the hype was too high. So I would have to say The Exorcist for that. Number 10. Which horror film is underrated? Right, well I'm going to say, oh, hang on, I've got a few actually that I really like. I'd have to say for me, there's a couple, but People Under the Stairs is underrated because I just think that's an amazing film. It's really well acted, love the concept, love the cinematography, set design and effects, love People Under the Stairs, and you don't hear a lot about it and it's rarely on. And also April Fool's Day, which I just absolutely love. They did a remake which was a bit rubbish to be fair, but the original is fantastic and the characters in it are great, and the concept of it is great, so I think they're underrated. I don't know, I think generally when you get a series of films then it makes it underrated as well, so that kind of annoys me because I actually don't mind that there's been so many Saws and so many Freddys and so many Jasons. I really like them. I think if you really like a villain and you like the concept of the story and you like that, then when you get more and more, sometimes, I don't know, I really like them, so I'm really excited when a new one comes out. It's like with Scream, it's up to 4 now, and I was just so excited to go and see Scream 4. So I just, you know, I think if you fall in love with a particular series, I think that, unless they really mess it up, then it's okay. Alec! Right. Number 11. Do you like horror spoof movies? Yes and no. I have watched them, I've seen Scary Movie, all of those ones, and the one I probably like is Shriek If You Know What I Did Last Friday the 13th. I think that's a very underrated spoof movie. Tiffany Amber Thiessen's in that and it's really funny, I really like it. It's got a lot of my favourite films in there, so that's another reason I like it. I just think sometimes some of these spoofs can just take it past the point of funny and then it's not funny. It's like, yeah, that was funny a minute ago and now you try to take it too far. But some of them are very funny, so I don't mind them. I will watch them. They're not my favourite thing to watch though. Number 12. What is your favourite horror movie series? I'm going to say Halloween for that one. Apart from number 3, which just is not great at all. But I just love the progression of that story. I don't know. I really like Michael Myers, and I like that Jamie Lee Curtis was brought back into it several times. I like the direction they took it when they did H2O. I just like the progression of the story, and I like Michael as a villain. I don't know, he's one of those villains that just seems to walk very slowly and always seems to get the victim in the end anyway. But yeah, I always really enjoy the Halloween films. The only Halloween films I haven't enjoyed is the remakes. Did not enjoy them at all. Far too much swearing, too much gore, totally changed Michael's character. Not a huge fan of those. I just think that Michael is Michael, and please leave him as he is and don't try to make him something he's not. But I definitely have to say my favourite series of horror films would be Halloween, other than Scream of course, but I can't keep saying Scream for every single question. Number 3, name 13 horror villains. Now this is an interesting one. So definitely Ghostface, then there's Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger, Candyman, Leatherface, think of good ones to say. Ooh, Hellraiser, Hatchet, ooh, Jigsaw, that's 8, no, it's 9. Let's think. Chucky, 10. I need 3 more. When you see when you're put on the spot. See, I deliberately didn't like think about these questions before because I wanted to just, you know, didn't want to overthink it. So I've got 3 more to get. Reagan in The Exorcist, although she's not a horror villain. Yeah, maybe not that one. The Boogeyman. Can I say that one? No, I'm not going to say that one actually. I need 3 more. Very challenging. I can't even think of 3 more, and I know that it's just as soon as I stop the camera rolling, I'm just going to instantly think of 3 others. I guess villains is different because you can think of people within horror films like killers, not necessarily known as villains though. Well, I guess you could say Dracula because obviously he pops up in a lot of different things and obviously he's well known as a vampire, so we'll say Dracula. Ooh, Death, like as in the Reaper, because Final Destination, and I really like that, so I think technically yes, he is a villain. I'm gonna look at my list of films. Oh yes, I totally forgot that one. Right, my last one I'm gonna say is, I've totally forgot his name. From I Know What You Did Last Summer. Yeah, the guy with a hook. Sorry. So, the last part of this tag is, now for fun, name 13 of your favourite horror movie or horror movie series. So that's for everybody else to do. As part of the 13 Days of Horror, I'm actually going to talk about a different one of my favourite horror films or horror series every day. So every day of the 13 Days of Horror there will be a small video uploaded about that. So I'm not going to name my favourite 13 here just because then it will then ruin those little videos, but I'd really like it if you did that. So if you like horror movies and yeah, well, you have to really like horror movies to do this tag, then please do this tag. You can post it as a video response to this. I'd be really interested to see what your favourite horror films are and what you know, who your favourite villains and scream queens are as well. I will put the questions in the information bar down below, and I can't wait to start seeing your responses. And tomorrow, yeah, I'm not going to tell you what's going on tomorrow, but hopefully you're going to enjoy the rest of this series. Lots of little surprises coming up, lots of tutorials, mostly makeup, some nail tutorials also, and a few little surprises chucked in there for good measure. So I'll see you all soon, and I'll love you and leave you. Bye.